I greet you all in Jesus' name. Good evening. Imana ishimwe. I would like to invite you to a journey with me. So let's walk together. And I'd like for you to just take a few steps mentally, reflectively, into your own journey. And I am certain that there have been moments in your life when you were a child, a young person, or even as an adult right now, when love lifted you. When somebody looked back and held your hand and said, "You're not going to walk alone. I will walk with you. I will support you. I will mentor you." I am sure that has happened to everybody in this room at one point or the other. Maybe that time when you felt all was lost, that time when you felt it was all dark and blurry, you felt lost, you felt like, it's all over. Is life meaningful? And such things, till somebody saw you and said, "I am choosing to believe in you." And there's that little country song that I love that says, "Love lifted me, love lifted me. When nothing else could do, love lifted me." And I am no exception. I have had those moments when love has lifted me, when men and women came and held me and said, "Caren, we will journey with you. We will walk with you." And as a result, I said, you know what? I have to pay it forward and find younger people and children who are coming after me and walk with them and support them and affirm them that they can achieve their dreams. A couple of years ago, I was working in the media. And the pay was good, life was good, but there was a void within. I was not fulfilled. Over the weekend, I would find so much fulfillment in going to informal settlements to have conversations with young men and women to sort of just give them hope in my small little way. And that would make me so happy. And time came when the inevitable happened, and I decided to quit and do youth work full time. And so in 2012, I decided to start Emerging Leaders Foundation, which is an organization that creates a space where the next generation of leaders, young men and women, come to be mentored, coached, supported, to become the best they can be in every sector in society, in politics, in business, government, media, academia, family, every sector of society. And when I started Emerging Leaders Foundation, I had a rosy picture in my mind that within 1 year, for as long as I put in the work, we will succeed, we will have money to reach every young person in Kenya, and then spread our wings to the whole continent. We would have staff, we would have an office and furniture, and basically be having great impact. That's what I had in mind. And I put in the work. But one thing I did not sign up for was, I did not sign up for failure in that journey. I did not sign up for sleepless nights, for suffering burnout, for having those moments of aloneness that were very uncomfortable. I did not sign up for that. I signed up for success. But the truth is, a season came in the course of running this organization that all that happened. It was a dark season. We failed. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, reaching out to partners and organizations and trying to interest them to come and mentor young people, to support us financially, and even in terms of in-kind support to work with young people. But many of them would say, your organization is too small. We work with bigger organizations, or our budget is big, what you're asking for is too little, we can't work with you. Or others would actually just ask for kickbacks and favors. It was difficult. This was a totally difficult season for me. So no funding. I would do consultancies to then pay up a few things here and there, and then would go to universities to have mentorship sessions. And time came when the little money I had, of course, ran out. We had an office. We ended up losing the office. And then I had saved up for about a year and a half to buy furniture. And this particular year, again, of course, we lost the furniture. And this was like the most painful thing. And we lost it under very unfair circumstances. So my cousin was in a business partnership with somebody. And so they invited us to bring our furniture and our stuff and use their space, but then pay for internet. And that was working very well for about a year till they decided to go separate ways, and we had to move out with our everything. But then the lady told me, come for your furniture after 3 months, because the caretaker might think I am the one moving out, but no, it's you. And I said, that's fine. After 3 months I went, she said, come back after 3 months. I'm not ready to release the furniture. And this is an elderly lady that I respected so much. She actually really loved God. And I used to call her mom. I never referred to her by name. So after the 6 months I go and I say, Mom, I've come for the furniture. Sitting across the table from her. And then she said, I have kept this furniture for you for 6 months. I would like a token of appreciation. And I said, Mom, what do you mean? And she said, just 100,000 Kenya shillings. And I said, but Mom, you know, I'm barely surviving. I'm barely making it. No money is coming through. I don't have this kind of money. And she said, I can reduce it to 80,000 Kenya shillings. I did not have that money. But she gave me a week to go look for money and then go back. And she said, there's a gentleman who walked in here and saw your furniture. He likes it. At the end of the week, if you don't bring me the money, I will sell the furniture to him. At the end of the week, I did not have the money. And that's how we lost the furniture. And I think 3, 4, 5 years down the line, I didn't know that that bitterness was still in me. But a little miracle happened in a very interesting way. Last year, we had 3 different international organizations donating their furniture to us. To a point that then we had so much, and we started looking for smaller youth organizations to donate to. And at that point, I said, so why am I having this unforgiveness in my heart? Let me let go. In fact, the furniture we received was way better quality than what we had. So these and many more challenges really put me down. I tried to hold on, but one of these evenings, I left town and went home where I was living with my younger siblings, and 2 of them were seated in the sitting room. I got in, sat down, looking tired and frail, and I'll be honest with you, deep within, I was weak. I was totally done in completely. And if I'd say I was feeling like a failure, I think that would be such a big understatement. I was feeling like this was over and I had just hit rock bottom. I was down completely. And I told my sisters, I think this is it. Maybe this is God's sign that I'm not meant to be doing this. And one of them, Stella, said, but Caren, you've walked this journey for so long. God cannot have brought you this far to let you fail. And then Maureen chimed in and said, but Caren, why don't you turn this rock bottom into a solid rock upon which you will build your foundation? And they said, we're not going to let you give up on this dream. that was encouraging, but still, I didn't have the strength. Till two mentors in particular, but many more came on board. One in particular, she's called Katindi CV Njonjo. She's one of my mentors and one of our board members. She called me to a meeting and told me, Caren, giving up is not an option. You have inspired me to start my own organization. I am way older than you, but see what I'm doing because you inspired me. And look at the many lives Emerging Leaders Foundation has touched. You can't afford to give up. I will walk with you. I will hold your hand. I will hold you accountable. And she'd call in, check in on me, find out how I'm doing, buy me coffee, would laugh, cry sometimes. The other one is Dr. Ondeko. She's a chiropractor, but also one of our board members. She'd call me to meetings as well and have deep, intimate conversations. And these women shared with me their own stories of vulnerabilities, their own frailties, their own moments when they had pain, their own moments when they failed, their own moments when they were waiting on God and the wait seemed to be too long. They shared these stories and I thought, oh my goodness, so I'm not alone. And I'm not the first person to go through this. And I'm not going to be the last. This is just a part of the journey. And slowly by slowly, I picked myself up, together with a few friends and, of course, my sisters and the board, and started walking again. I started hoping again. I started believing again. And then, within no time, a few institutions came on board and started believing in us, investing in us to support young people in Kenya and across the continent. And I'll tell you something really, really powerful. I think one of the things that kept me going in this season was the stories I used to hear from the young men and women that we were working with. Stories of how their lives had changed. Because part of what we do, Module 1, is self-awareness. We ask ourselves the question, who are you? Who am I? Why am I here? What is my personality? How do I navigate around the world, the workplace relationships with who I am? And most importantly, what is my story? And for many of these young people that come into this space, this is the first time they're ever imagining that they have a story and that their stories matter and that they have a voice to tell their own stories. It matters who tells your story. It matters how many perspectives of those stories are told. And these young people suddenly find a power they had given away, a power they had lost, and they begin a healing process. Just by them reflecting on their own stories and beginning to share their stories, beginning to own their stories. Taking back their power by telling their stories. I've had stories of healing in families, stories of young people getting jobs, forming families, and just amazing success. And this year, last month, Emerging Leaders Foundation won the 2019 Impact Africa Award. Last year, we were recognized by the 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama, for the work we are doing with young people. And that is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that we are doing the little we can in our small little way to glorify God by investing in the young people, the generation that really matters, which is about our future. And I'd like to kindly ask our sound person to just play a short clip about some of the stories of the young people, and then I will conclude.
Some of you know here in South Africa, my foundation's been convening over the last few days 200 young people from across this continent who are doing the hard work of making change in their communities, who reflect Madiba's values, who are poised to lead the way. People like Caren Wakoli, who's an entrepreneur from Kenya and founded the Emerging Leaders Foundation to get young people involved in the work of fighting poverty and promoting human dignity.
ABLI Mentorship Program is an initiative of Emerging Leaders Foundation and Bible Society of Kenya, where we are bringing together young Christian men and women in a space where they get to learn about the Jesus model of leadership. Basically, this is all about the biblical truth and integrity in terms of leadership and in terms of them living their lives.
I want to thank God for the partnership we have had with the Emerging Leaders Foundation, who have trained these young people in order for them to become better leaders in our society.
The ABLI mentorship session, especially on self-awareness, the first session, really helped me to know where I come from and to really believe in my story, because just like we were told, each and every person have their own story, which is very unique and very different. So it made me to just be in love with who I am, with my story, because it is leading to something that is beautiful and something that the world is awaiting to be revealed.
To lead others, you first have to lead yourself. And to lead yourself, you have to get to a point of self-discovery and a point of knowing who are you as a person. And I realized I was walking around as a shell of a man who didn't even know who he was. I had lived with myself for over 20 years, but I had very, very little grasp of who I was until I went into that session and had Duncan speak about the different personality types. And it made me understand why I do certain things, why I think the way I think and things like that. So that was, for me, that self-awareness class was very important.
One of the most interesting parts today was about life maps, where we got to share stories. Individuals got to just sit down, do a chat, either in whatever format you want to put it. People are putting it down, then in groups, sharing, and at the end of it all, just viewing things from a different angle. That was the best moment for today, and I can tell everyone is so relieved.
Before today, I didn't think I had the courage to actually confront some of the probably dark times, or my low moments in my life, but getting to listen and hear from all the rest of us that we all have our unique stories, the painful ones, the happy ones, and owning them up has been quite interesting. It's opened my eyes, and for the first time actually today, I've shared with people something I've never shared before. I'm getting a whole new perception of who I am, redefining myself, telling a new story about me.
I've learned several things, from governance to self-awareness to networking to communicating, and those are the very basic things that us as youth lack.
Every program has helped change me, and it will help me change the world.
And I'm fired up and ready to go for this nation and Africa. Be blessed.
Emerging Leaders Foundation. Discover, connect, and impact.
Thank you very much for that. So as I sum up my remarks, I have 5 simple lessons and tips that I wish to share for effective youth mentorship, especially through storytelling. The first one is build authentic relationships with the young people. A lot of times we have speakers and individuals who come to speak to young people and basically share the story of the finished product, not the story of the process. Because before we came to where we are right now, we walked a journey. We went through a process sometimes of pain, of hard work, of the sleepless night, burning the midnight oil, the story of hard work, the story of never giving up. But sometimes we rarely share those stories. And we share incomplete stories. But to effectively ensure that young people discover that they are not alone, that they can make it, that the experiences they are going through are just but a part of the journey, we have to share our authentic stories in full, the good and the bad. Build authentic relationships with young people. Number 2, love unconditionally. I have discovered that the most powerful force in the world that will cause transformation and has already caused transformation in certain spaces, it is love. And that is what mentorship is all about. Believing in somebody. Believing in the ability of people to change, to become better individuals, to become the best they can be. That we can hold their hand and believe in them and love on them just as they are, never seeking to change them, but seeking to help them to find answers from within them. Because every solution, every answer that we seek for in this life, it's right within here. So how can a mentor propel and nudge a young person or a child, or even who we are, to find those solutions from within? It takes unconditional love. Number 3, listen empathically. A lot of times we listen not with the intention to understand, but with the intention to respond. That is not listening. And sometimes I realize that that is why we end up missing out on so many things that people tell us. And in this case, I'm talking about young people. They get to sit down and share things and share stories and experiences. And if we're not keenly listening, we end up missing on some of the key things that would have helped us to help them unlock some of those bottlenecks. So genuinely listen to understand. Number 4, embrace the spirit of succession by passing on the leadership baton. From the speeches in the morning we have had, and of course all around us, we know that the youngest continent in the world is Africa. Our median age is 19. But on the other hand, the median age of the leaders is over 60. There's a disconnect there. May I just, by a show of hands, see how many young people are here? Anyone below 35 years of age? Okay, I see a number. It would have been nice to see a few more young people. Over the weekend, I had a really amazing time with a few other leaders in Huye, discussing with young people, over 700 of them who are doing some really amazing stuff within the civil society, within learning institutions, within the church. For us to be able to pass on the baton, young people must be at the table. They have to be involved in the planning, in the discussion of their own future and the future of our children and our children's children. That is how passing on the baton happens, because the truth is, time is coming when many of us will not be there. Would we have nurtured a generation of ethical, values-based leaders who are courageous enough to stand for the right thing, who will take that baton and take us to where we want Africa to get to? Or will that time come and we will have a crisis because we never looked back to hold the hands of young men and women and children who are our future? So let us think succession for our institutions, for our countries, for our churches, by investing in the young people. Finally, let us seek to teach values by living them out. Somebody said that who we are is screaming so loudly that they can't hear what we are saying. So it is more powerful to live it out than to speak it. And that, I think, is the best way to teach values, by showing how. Can we show young people that really success is not money and money is not success by how we live our lives? Because right now, the whole concept of money and wealth and riches and big cars and, latest machines are the order of the day. And every young person is sort of yearning to get that, and then they realize, no, this is not it. This is just vanity. There's something more meaningful about life. That success is about holding that person's hand, making a difference in somebody's life, living more meaningfully. Not by the material things we have, because then they are fleeting. Today they are here, tomorrow they are gone. Values such as hard work. Can we have young people job shadow us in our workplaces and see how hard we work and realize the value of hard work? That when you work hard, when you're consistent, when you're determined, when you're persistent, and when you never give up, you will actually succeed. and just helping them to believe that, you know what? God has a plan and a purpose for their lives, regardless of who they are, regardless of their gender, regardless of their background. They can make it to be the best that they can be in life. Finally, as I sum up, I have one prayer. That may God make us uncomfortable. May He shake our nets continually till we get to actively, deliberately, intentionally start investing in the children and in the young people of our continent, of our nation, because it matters. They are our future. And that time for us to do that, to get uncomfortable, get out of our comfort zone and begin to grow and do things is now. If not now, then when? If not you and me, then who? Thank you and God bless you.